What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. Now today the camera angle is different and that's the entire video. Alright, so you guys have a good one. I'm just joking. Today we are flipping the entire AFL season on its head. So basically what that means is that the current ladder, I'm going to literally flip it around. So that means that the bottom 10 teams will move into the top 10 and the top 8 teams will move into the bottom 8. You get what I'm trying to say. After I tell you how the ladder would look, we're going to see how the finals would look. I'm going to run you through my final series, which I've done on here. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see the whole format. But you know, we need some love for our bottom 10 teams. You know, they're not getting that much love at this time of the season. It's all about the top 8. Oh, we're getting close to finals. It's the top 8 teams. Whoop-de-doo. We need to show some love for them bottom 10 teams. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm showing support for them, you know, bottom 10 teams. So yeah, let's run through the flipped ladder. Now you may say, yeah, well, I can just do this in my own time. Why are you doing this for a video? It's like, why not, bro? I needed some content to put out today. Please don't judge me. I just wanted some content. And listen, this is going to save you the time of doing it yourself, all right? But if you want to do it yourself, you can, and you can, you know, predict your flipped universe final series or whatever. Some shit like that, I don't know. But yeah, we're going to go through the swapped around ladder for the swapped around season. Let's begin. So we'll run through the top 4 really quickly. This is what the top 4 would look like if the ladder was flipped. It would begin with North Melbourne on top of the ladder, then Hawthorn, Adelaide and Collingwood rounding out the top 4. So those are the teams with a second chance in finals, which you probably understand by now. If you don't, there you go. But yeah, so North, Hawthorn, Adelaide and Collingwood, which would just be the weirdest combination of a top 4 at this point of the season, considering how they are playing right now. So if the AFL decided to flip it around, that would be completely fucked. But anyway, that's how it would look like. And then rounding out the top 8, the elimination final teams are the Suns, Blues, Bombers and Saints. So the Saints sneak into the top 8, which they're sort of a chance. They're still alive technically, mathematically and all that stuff in the finals race IRL, but here they're in the top 8. They've made it. So happy days for Saints fans. But yeah, they're in the top 8. So yeah, if you're a Saints fan and you just want to write an email to Gil saying, can you please flip the ladder around? It's not fair. You can do that yourself. I'm not going to do that for you because that would just be fucking weird, eh? Alright, moving on to the bottom 10 teams. So, Fremantle are the ones in 9th spot, and it was almost Richmond, but it is Freo in 9th spot, and Richmond take out 10th spot. So like I said in a previous tipping video, Tigers exploring new habitats in 10th spot, not 9th anymore. So no one can make memes about them, sadly, even if the ladder gets flipped. But you can make memes about them like right now, because on the actual ladder they are 9th. So go ahead, do it right now. They're probably not 9th at this point while this video is uploaded though. So yeah. Alright, yeah, so it's Freo in 9th, Richmond in 10th, and then the Giants in 11th with West Coast in 12th, Brisbane in 13th, and Sydney in 14th spot. So that rounds out 9 to 14th. Positions on the ladder. So yeah, the Lions and the Eagles and the Giants missing out on finals, along with Sydney, who in actual AFL are doing quite well, even though they did get smashed tonight by the Saints by 29 points. But yeah, so the Swans dropped off at the end of the season and have finished 14th magically. And then the bottom 4. Could you imagine if this was the actual bottom 4? No way, considering how these teams are playing. But it goes the D's in 15th, Port in 16th, Geelong in 17th, and the Dogs in 18th. There is no universe where that would be happening anytime soon at the moment. Obviously the Dogs are in top spot, but on the reverse they're in 18th spot. So you would hate it if Gil just flipped the ladder. Obviously I'm just taking the piss. Obviously he's not gonna fucking do that. But if he did, how fucking funny. But yeah, obviously the Dogs and the actual AFL doing really good, top of the ladder, and a really good team, and they're sort of just getting putting the gas down as they move into the finals in the actual AFL, not the flipped one. All right, so that is the swapped ladder done and dusted. So now we're gonna do a little bit of we're gonna have a little bit of fun. We're gonna predict the finals off. We're gonna predict the finals off the swapped ladder. So from 1 to 8. So it is North Melbourne, Hawthorn, Adelaide, Collingwood, Gold Coast, Carlton, Essendon, and St Kilda that have made the finals. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of fun and predict what I'm gonna run through my predictions of the flipped finals. So these are the teams that have made it. I'm now gonna run through my predictions. So first, before doing that, I'll go through what the first week of finals would look like if, you know, these were the teams that made finals. So the first qualifying final would be North Melbourne versus Collingwood. The first elimination final would be Gold Coast versus St Kilda. The second elimination final would be Carlton versus Essendon, and the second qualifying final would be Hawthorn versus Adelaide. Now, wouldn't that just be a cracked final series? It would be interesting. It would be interesting. But yeah, so here are my predictions for how the first week could go. Now, this could come out completely biased, but I'll give valid opinions on why I think teams would move through. North Melbourne versus Collingwood. I'm still going to go Collingwood to win. I know that North Melbourne have been playing some decent footy to the back end of the season, but Collingwood just seem to find a way to beat North Melbourne when it comes to that game. They played during, you'd say, the midpoint of the season, and Collingwood, you know, North Melbourne fought, but Collingwood were able to get the job done by 18 points, and at one stage of that match, I'm pretty sure the margin extended beyond 30 points. So I'm pretty sure Collingwood, with the calibre that they have, would still be able to get the job done, even though North Melbourne have been playing some good footy. Although at the back ends of games, North Melbourne seem to be slipping up a little bit. So yeah, I think Collingwood will be able to snatch it out of their hands and move through to the preliminary finals. For the Suns versus Saints game, I'm going to be going the Saints in that one. Just been playing the, you know, I feel like they've just been a bit better than the Suns have been, and it shows on the actual ladder as well. Just, you know, they're not like completely out of the Suns' way, but they're in front of them. And yeah, I think that, you know, the Saints have been in that final spot. You know, they were in there last year. They've got the players to get the job done in finals. You know, Gold Coast are yet to play a final as well. So yeah, I think the Saints would be able to get the job done over the Suns. Then in the elimination final between the Blues and the Bombers, I think the Blues would be able to get the job done, and I think Mackay would run a muck in the forward line, causing Essendon to lose another final, and they would still be looking for a finals win. And then in the last final of the week, it would be the Hawks versus the Crows, and I would actually go the Crows to win this one. They've beaten the Hawks twice in a row now, once at the Adelaide Oval last year and once this year in Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. So yeah, I feel like they would just find a way to get the job done over the Hawks. It seems like the Hawks just can't find a way to beat the Crows at the moment. So yeah, it'd be the Crows for me over the Hawks. The second week of finals would look like this. North Melbourne taking on the Saints in semi-final 1. The Blues taking on the Hawks in semi-final 2. I would predict the Saints to beat North Melbourne in the first semi-final. They beat them weeks ago. I think it was like 88-60 or something. It was probably like the midpoint of the season as well. The Saints were able to get the job done over the Roos. And I feel like, you know, like I said before with North Melbourne, haven't played finals in ages, and I don't think they don't have the players yet that would win them a final. So yeah, I think the Saints would move on with this one and get the job done. Then it's the Blues taking on the Hawks in the second semi, and I've tipped the Blues to get the job done. They played a good game against the Hawks a few rounds ago. It was more to the start of the season, and yeah, they were able to get the job done. Mackay had a good game. Always, you know, had a good game as well, and you know, with his sexy breasts, as Tanoush would say. So yeah, it'd be happy days for the Blues as they move on to the preliminary finals, beating the Hawks in that one. The preliminary finals would look like this: the Crows taking on the Saints, and the Pies taking on the Blues. Now, wouldn't that be a mouth-watering preliminary final, and you know, assuming there would be fans there, who knows. But yeah, preliminary final 1. I'm going Adelaide just to edge out the Saints. It would be at a rocking Adelaide Oval, assuming all goes well. The Saints, you know, they threw a lead to the Crows earlier in the season, and that was in Darwin. This is in a more hostile territory, so I think the Crows would be able to get the job done and move on to a grand final. Whoop-de-doo. It just sounds so stupid saying all this shit, but I've got to do it for the video, to be honest. The second semi is the Pies taking on the Blues, and I'm going to go the Pies to win that. I sound so biased, but you know, considering the Blues haven't been in a final in ages, I think the Pies would have that caliber to get the job done and move on to the grand final to take on the Crows. Yeah, I just feel like they would be able to. When it comes to Collingwood and Carlton, I just feel like it's normally Collingwood that find a way. Obviously, the Blues found a way a couple of weeks ago. They managed to get the job done in the final quarter, though, and this is a final as well. The Pies have been involved in a few finals. They may have a different sort of list to what would normally be in their final side, but you know, they're Collingwood, they're a proud club, and I think they would be able to get the job done over the Blues. And it'd be a close game though. The Blues would give it their all, but the Pies would just find a way to get the job done and move on to the granny. And it'd be Adelaide versus Collingwood, and I'm going to let you decide who would win that grand final. Obviously, I'd say Collingwood because I go for Collingwood, but you can decide in the comments below. So yeah, and one more thing, the Dogs would be wooden spooners. How weird is that? So yeah, that's the whole season in reverse. So that's how weird it would be. Imagine if Gill just came out and flipped it. Obviously he's not going to because that'd be dumb. But yeah, that's the weirdest video I've done on my channel completed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this weird video. And yeah, cheers.